there and welcome to the T-Rex Elec smoke alarm video. Today we're just going to have a quick chat about the importance of having smoke alarms in your home. They're a really great, cost-effective addition to your house that improves the safety of your household dramatically. Having smoke alarms is really a no-brainer. If you don't have them, you really are putting yourself and the life of your loved ones at risk. Today we're going to install a couple of these particular types of smoke alarms in this house that we're working in. These are a mains powered battery backup smoke alarm that has what's called a photoelectric sensor in it. Now, there's two common types of smoke alarms. One is ionisation, which is an older standard that we used to install in houses. Now we run these photoelectric ones. The main difference is that a photoelectric smoke alarm is great for detecting smoke from synthetic materials and smouldering fires, which are two of the main types of fires that will happen in a residential situation. An older ionisation smoke alarm is slower to detect these types of fires and doesn't really give you the best chance of escaping your home if there is a fire in an emergency situation. This particular alarm is a 240 volt mains powered smoke alarm with a battery backup, which means that if the power for some reason drops out, especially common in the event of a house fire, the battery kicks in and it still operates. The other great benefit to this alarm here is that they're interconnected, which means it actually talks to the rest of the alarms in your house. So that if one goes off in a bedroom at the other end of the house where no one's sleeping in, but there might be a candle or a heater running that someone's forgot to turn off, every alarm in the house will go off, which gives you the greatest chance for you and your loved ones to escape in the event of a fire. We're going to go and install this one here now, and we'll come back to it once we're done and we'll show you the finished product. So now that we have a basic understanding of how smoke alarms work and the types of fires they're applicable for, and really why it makes sense for you to have them installed in your home, you might be thinking, hang on a second, I have smoke alarms in my house, am I completely protected? Well, the answer to that question is often yes and no. Smoke alarms themselves are required by law to be replaced every 10 years, and when we inspect an alarm, if it's older than 10 years and it's expired, it must be replaced immediately. Another important feature of smoke alarms is they have a battery backup, like we spoke about earlier. If that battery fails, you are not completely protected, and it's recommended that you replace your smoke alarm batteries at a minimum of every 12 months or a recommended schedule of every 6 to know that you're always completely protected. I'm just going to show you here on a really common smoke alarm that you find in most houses in Australia how to check if your alarm is approaching its expiry date or already has expired, and how to change the battery so that you don't need to call us just to change your battery. On the side of the alarm here is, if we can find it, is a button that says push to open. So your alarm will be mounted on the roof, so you get up on a ladder in a safe way, press it, and then this will drop down. This is what gives you access to the battery, which you can change. You don't need a special battery, you just get a 9 volt one from Woolworths or shops, and you can do that. Smoke alarms, like we said, last for 10 years. There's two methods of expiry for smoke alarms. It's either 10 years from the date that it was installed, or it's 10 years from the date of manufacture. This sticker in here is the sticker the manufacturer puts on, and it'll either have the date installed, and your electrician should have written the month and year that the alarm was installed, so you can keep track of when it is due to be replaced, or it may say replace no later than 2026. If the date has gone on that, you need to get that replaced because they just aren't reliable. Now here we have a great example of a smoke alarm that is just not up to scratch when it comes to keeping this family safe. This alarm here is at least 15 years old, is not hardwired, and is an old ionisation type. We see these commonly in the greater Gold Coast area, and you can tell that they're old because they're all faded from UV damage. This one's that old that when we look inside we can see it doesn't have a date of manufacture stamped on there, like all new alarms, and it doesn't even have a sticker indicating the date that it was installed. So we're going to assume that this one is out of date and we're going to replace it. What we're going to do is replace it with an example of the Eclipse and smoke alarm we showed you earlier. We're going to hardwire it in the roof once we've got the power off, and then we're going to come back and we're just going to show you what it looks like when the job's done. So we finished the installation and we've got this alarm hardwired to the customer's light circuit so they know it's always on. We're going to test it now and make sure it's working. Now there's two common methods for testing your smoke alarm. The one that you're probably the most familiar with is pressing the test button once every 12 months to make sure it's working. What that is testing is it's testing the siren, and the siren circuit within this alarm is actually functional. The preferred method of testing that we do here is we test it with synthetic smoke. So we apply synthetic smoke to the surface of the unit. It actually tests the detection mechanism inside it to make sure that you know your alarm will detect a fire, not that the siren itself is the only thing working. So safety first. That one is a winner. Now, a common question that we get is how to deal with the dreaded false alarm. It might be 4 AM in the morning and all of a sudden your smoke alarms start going off, even if there's no sign of a fire or any smoke at all. Every smoke alarm will have a hush button, so it's a good idea to familiarise yourself with the alarms that you have in your property so that you know how to turn it off. Because the last thing you want is at 4:30 in the morning to be running around in a dressing gown with a broomstick trying to whack your alarm off the roof to get it to stop. These ones here have a button. It's the same button that you use to test it, and quite often it says push to hush and push to test. Hold that button down till the alarm stops sounding. It's important to note that if your alarm continuously goes off, even though there's no sign of a fire, it's a good idea to get an electrician to come check it, because they could be faulty, which means they could be faulty in the event of an emergency, and it doesn't give you that lead time to escape your house in the case of a fire. Another thing that we commonly see when we go into houses is that people have the alarm down and the battery out. That's a common way people deal with stopping the alarm. Now that will stop the alarm from sounding, it will also stop it from saving your life should you have a house fire in your property. If your alarm keeps going off that much that you need to take the battery out for it to work, it is no longer operable and will not help you in an emergency. Don't do it. Call an electrician, have your alarms replaced, and keep your family safe.